Hey guys, and welcome back to the channel. We're sitting in front of my 2016 Subaru WRX, and this is a little bit of a channel update, but really in today's video I'm addressing why I don't buy cars like other YouTubers and automotive YouTubers, and why I can't right now. And this has nothing to do with personal situations. This just has to do with the finance of YouTube, and I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about the finance of YouTube. So if you've ever wondered, how do you get paid on YouTube? How much money is it? How do you grow? How do all these people buy crazy amounts of cars? How does the Stradman have like a $30 million car portfolio and he's building this like $3 or $4 million dream house? How is that all possible? And how does all this work? Well, in this video, I'm going to give you a little bit of an insight and tell you guys, and I'm going to tell you guys why when you comment on my videos, go buy a Lamborghini, go buy a Ferrari. Those are the most common comments. I'll tell you guys a little bit why that's not possible, and share some finance, because that's really interesting. And you know, if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, at least stick through the video, because I'll tell you a little bit about how you make money on YouTube and how much you make, and I'll share a little bit of information about this channel and other channels. First and foremost, you guys probably know me because I make WRX content. I hope to make more broad content about tuning and aftermarket, support on cars, and I want to have different cars on the channel, and that's the long-term plan. But if you followed the channel, I've had two WRXs, and I hope to have an STI, and I'm also looking for a Supra and a GTR eventually. And you might hear like, whoa, those are crazy expensive cars, like you must be killing it on YouTube and you're getting to the point where you're like these other creators. But that's not necessarily the truth, and I'll explain why. Let's cycle back. I make content about WRXs, and this is great for me as a small YouTuber because I have access to a very unique community. It's not incredibly competitive. Obviously, there's a lot of people out there making content about WRXs and STIs, but it's not so competitive that I'm making like generalized content that the YouTube algorithm can put my WRX and my videos in front of other WRX owners, and I'm not fighting against the Stradman for his like general vlog about supercars. The negative to making content about a car like the WRX or STI is that it's a finite market. There's only so many people that want to see these videos, that are going to watch these videos, that want to see my content. And what that means is I don't have a huge amount of growth potential. I'm trying to capitalize on a pretty small niche. And with that, I have a finite amount of financial benefit to this space. But it's a catch-22. Until I have other cars and I can grow a bigger audience, I can't make more money on YouTube. And if I stay in this space, I'm gonna make a similar amount of money on YouTube, and it's not really gonna change because I have a growth potential. Of course, I can change the kind of content that I make about my car, bring in other things without spending more money. But if you watch the channel, I provide unbiased and very objective information about cars and the experience of owning them. And I want to keep doing that and provide that with other platforms. Eventually I have to integrate other content because that's what I'm going to have to do to grow. But until I can add other cars to the platform, I have a finite audience. So it's this constant catch-22 of, do you spend more money, and when do you spend more money to get a bigger and nicer car so you can get a bigger audience? And of course, the more expensive your car and the more of a dream car it is, the larger the audience that might want to watch you and the more viral the content you can make. So look, it's like three stages. There's the stage that I'm at where I'm a small channel. I'm making okay money for the content that I produce and the time that I put into the channel and the vehicle that I have. There's the top end where you have Vehicle Virgin, Stradman, all these massive creators that have millions and millions and millions of dollars of cars. They can add a car every 15th video, and they're constantly doing these very, very expensive things to their cars, which allows them to make viral content, and they're the dream cars of many, many people. So it's not necessarily one platform specific, because every WRX owner would like a Ferrari. Every WRX owner would like a Bugatti. Same with every Mustang owner. Same with every BMW owner. So they get to get a bigger audience. But because their channel is already so large and they have a larger audience, they're getting brand deals, they're getting sponsorship, and they're just getting more views. So it's paying them more money. A good example is people like the Stradman are probably making upwards of $5 or $6 million at his current size, just based off of ad revenue and affiliate marketing. This doesn't include any sponsorships. So you can tell if you're making $5, $6, $7 million a year off your content, you are able to swap through these cars and constantly make changes. A $20,000 body kit or a $4,000 hood or $10,000 wheels are small when you consider you're making a ton of money and your only operational expense is, well, one, taxes, but your only operational expense is the cars that are on the channel, and these hold value. So when he buys a $1 million Bugatti, it's not like it's a $1 million expense, because then he can sell it after and recoup either all his money more money in some instances, or slightly less money, but it's still a lot of money. So then you look at all these emerging YouTubers where they're the first people that are like, I'm gonna go buy a GTR at 24, I'm gonna go buy a Ferrari at 26. And you say, those are the people that grow their channels, and they're the ones that become the Stradman. They're the ones that become all these things. And you wonder, how do they get there? Well, they took a huge risk and they had the momentum. And until you get to that space, there's no way to grow to the point that you're gonna make that amount of money for that risk to be anything that is smart, unless you have massive momentum. I'm not going to say I'm anything comparable to people like the Stradman, and I'm going to continue to use him as an example because he truly went from a small YouTube channel very quickly to having many, many cars and a massive portfolio of money and just what he's got. So he took a huge risk. If you follow the Stradman, again, I'm going to use him as an example. He had very little, started a YouTube channel, built a lot of momentum, and took a massive risk when he didn't have a lot around him. He had infrastructure for low-cost housing. He didn't have much to support. He took a massive risk, bought a really expensive car, and carried that momentum through. Now, I've had on this channel times where I've built momentum, where I've grown in a month my views by 30 or 40%. My income's grown by 30 or 40%. But here's the information that you guys need to know. A channel like mine makes $500 or $600 a month total, right? Sometimes some months are better than others because I get like I have a different part that has an affiliate marketing, or it's December and advertising is better, so there's some fluctuation. But put yourself in those shoes. When people are saying go buy a $150,000 car, even go buy an $80,000 car, right? If I'm only making $400 to $600 a month and I have expenses like camera gear, all that stuff, the wear and tear on my car, the gas, the parts that I'm putting on it, you can understand that's not possible. But because the way YouTube works is everything's exponential. So once you kind of get out of that space, you have a high chance, if you set yourself up right with like an expensive car, to grow and grow and grow. So while my channel makes $400 to $600 a month, and again, that's an average, I don't actually know exactly what it is, it's kind of around that thing. These are pretty public numbers, and you can do all the calculations yourself and get a good understanding. The only place it gets really gray is when you get into like what people are getting, like what kind of checks are getting cut for brand sponsorships. But I can imagine the Stradman's probably, if he's doing it right, clearing 7 figures a month. That's my best guess in revenue, not in total profit. Then he's got to subtract everything he's spending. But my guess is that he's clearing or close to clearing 7 figures a month. Again, if he's doing it right, his ad revenue is probably in the means of $200,000 to $300,000 a month in that marketplace. It's hard to really understand because automotive isn't the highest paying CPM, cost per mil, cost per 1,000 views, but it's pretty high up there. So the question was, why don't I buy cars like other people? Well, I am considering buying some expensive cars, and I want to do that because of YouTube and for YouTube. But how am I able to do that? That's because I'm working 80-hour weeks. I've got a fairly good paying job. I work 2 other jobs and side hustles outside of that, plus YouTube, and those things are going to allow me to eventually get that space. Right now, could I drum up enough money to buy one of these big cars? Probably, but that would be all my money, and then that's not good for the long term of my own financial health. And it's not worth the risk right now. I have a home, all these things. I've got normal people stuff. All these other people had these things as well, but they had the momentum and they were grinding, and I don't have the time. And it's a balance between putting the time in and taking a massive risk. And I'm getting there. I'm like so close to wanting to do that and doing it, but I really have to keep growing that momentum, get a little bit bigger, up my viewership, and maybe make that leap. But for now, that's why I don't buy cars like most other YouTubers. I just don't have enough growth and growth potential on YouTube, and I'm just not making enough revenue on YouTube yet for that to make sense. So hopefully this was a little bit of a channel update to give you a little bit of information about finance behind YouTube and why certain YouTubers are able to do these things and why others aren't, and why you don't see the smaller guys quickly do that, because that's what everyone does. That as they say, I've got a recommendation for you. Let me teach you how to do something. Go buy a GTR and then you're going to get big. And my answer is it's just not that simple, because this is an art, and I'm not great at it yet. I'm learning every day. I'm trying to make my content better while balancing the time that I put into it so I can have other time to make more money outside of YouTube to then fund YouTube, if that makes any sense. So it's a total catch-22, but hopefully this gives you more information about why I don't just churn and buy a new car every 6 months, because one, I probably could, but now you know why it doesn't make sense for me. And it makes sense for a lot of YouTubers. And now hopefully you can understand a little bit more about what small YouTubers go through in the automotive space.